And now, so far this year, 23 Americans have been attacked by sharks. 11 of them happened in Florida, 5 in New York, 3 in Hawaii, and 1 in South Carolina. We're on pace to see a record-breaking year for shark bites.
What the heck is going on? So, what's the question? Are more sharks flocking to the shores? Is there more people at the beach? Luke Warwick is the director of Shark and Ray Conservation at the Wildlife Conservation Society, joining us now. All right, so the big question we all want to know, why are we seeing this spike in shark attacks?
Thank you so much for having me on. So shark attacks, shark incidents, as I think it's probably best to refer to them, often aren't really a shark trying to attack anybody. Often it's just people brushing up against the shark's skin or interacting with these top, sometimes apex predators as they enter the water. We've seen an increase in this sort of incidents this year and actually in a few years recently. That doesn't always mean that there's more incidents taking place. Sometimes it's just that they're being reported more, and sometimes it can be a case of mistaken identity. So it's a complex phenomenon, and it really needs further investigation.
Luke, I like that you said it's incidents, not attacks.
I do
like
agree, because if you're in my living room
change my verbiage.
and you brush up against me,
yes,
we're
going to have an incident.
We're going to have an incident. It just so happens that today is Shark Awareness Day. So how is climate change impacting shark populations?
So at WCS, we're working in over 14 countries around the world, actually the largest program of any group trying to conserve the world's sharks and rays. They're actually the second most threatened group of animals on the planet now. They're disappearing almost everywhere. But one area where that's not the case is actually the east coast of the US, where some strong protections a few decades ago are starting to see recoveries of shark populations. And those recoveries and that abundance may be one of the reasons why we're seeing increased incidences. In terms of climate impacts, it's still very poorly understood. Sharks and rays are pretty mysterious animals, to be honest. We're starting to see evidence of them moving, which we would expect to see as waters warm. But we don't really know how much that's happening yet.
Is it people killing sharks for shark fins that are part of the issue? And how are you guys helping these sharks just overall at the Wildlife Conservation Society?
So, yeah, as I said, very threatened species. The fins are worth a huge amount of money, can be as much of $1,000 a kilogram. They're used in East Asia for shark fin soup. So we're working at UN bodies and in countries around the world, from Latin America to Africa to Southeast Asia, to try and put in rules in place to protect them. Actually, similar rules to the sort we've seen put in place in the US that we hope will lead to the sort of recoveries before it's too late. These are the apex predators in marine ecosystems, so they actually play a key role keeping those ecosystems healthy. And with the increased impacts of climate change, we really need healthy marine ecosystems for food and all the other resources we take from the ocean. So really losing these predators now could be really catastrophic and just make the impacts of climate change worse.
Yeah, you forget we're eating their food, and then they have trouble there too. Luke Warwick from the Wildlife Conservation Society, thank you for joining us today and for all the work that you guys do to help the sharks.
Yeah, you know, sometimes people like to be like, oh, sharks, that'd be better. But you never know the domino effect of losing such an important species until it happens. And then you're like, oh, no, there were all these impacts that we weren't expecting.
Everything on this planet has a purpose.
And is tied together.
For more stories like this, check out Pattern on these social media platforms.